Hey guys, SuperHorrorBro Mike here, and in today's video we walk through the story and secrets of Garten of Banban Chapter 3. So sit back, relax, and let's return to the bizarre monster-infested Kintergarden as we try to piece together its mysterious backstory. Our story continues after the events of Garten of Banban 2, as the protagonist, a parent who desperately seeks to locate their missing children within the Kintergarden, descends further into its depths. If you would like a full recap of prior events, check out my Story Explained videos for Garten of Banban 1 and 2. I'll link those at the end of this video. The nameless protagonist finds themselves in a research area and heads over to the information kiosk, where Banban speaks to them over a tannoy system.
Glad to see you've made it. I don't know how you did it, but then again you survived a giant elevator crash, so I guess I shouldn't be surprised.
Banban explains that while he is trying to help our character, he must do so from afar, to prevent his violent instincts from overpowering him. This is why Banban attacks our hapless hero in the previous chapter, and so Banban now offers to help from the safety of a surveillance room. He goes on to explain that this is the lowest remaining floor to remain active before catastrophe struck at the Kintergarden, the many floors below now left abandoned. Banban informs us that he knows someone who may be able to locate the missing children.
As for your children, I don't know exactly where they're being kept, but I know someone who does. Head to the aquatic sector, that's where he resides.
Also in the information kiosk we find a note left by a researcher, who mentions that they went to use the bathroom and upon returning, everyone had mysteriously vanished. It is suggested their demise was the result of the dangerous bird, who now roams these halls. On the wall of the same room we are introduced to a new mascot of the Kintergarden, this one known as Queen Bouncelia. Surely the Queen and her pouch full of naughty ones will appear in a future chapter of the game. To locate the creature who may be able to help our protagonist locate their missing children, they must first repair a nearby sky rail and ride it to the aquatic sector. To do so, they must acquire a keycard to activate the sky rail, one which is acquired by cleaning up a break room by dropping stray crayons into a garbage chute. Once the room has been cleared, the keycard is dispensed. While tidying this room, the parent comes across a note which seems to be written by one of their children. The child talks of a nice jellyfish, who is very strong and carried all the children over to this place. Though they mention that Miss Mason, who from previous chapters we know to be one of the head scientists, does not like him. This suggests that perhaps the jellyfish is not to be trusted. Keycard in hand, the parent then rides the sky rail to the aquatic sector. Upon their arrival, they discover a research report detailing the aforementioned jellyfish subject. The jellyfish was created by splicing human and jellyfish DNA together and then infusing it with a mysterious Javanium substance. Unlike other experiments before it, Case 13 the jellyfish rapidly gained a high level of awareness and intelligence. After reuniting with the trusty drone and using it to gain access to a keycard, the parent opens the door leading to the lair of the jellyfish, a giant towering experiment based off the Kintergarten's popular mascot Stinger Flynn. By interacting with a communication kiosk, our protagonist awakens the beast, who then urges them to forget this place and leave while they still can.
Leave this place while you still can. Erase it from your memory. Move on and forget any of this ever happened. And I promise you, tomorrow will be a better day.
After this short exchange, our protagonist is then stuck inside Flynn's consciousness, waking on a tropical island in the middle of a vast ocean. The failed experiment Zolphius, previously seen in chapter 2, towers above ominously. In this place of tranquility, Stinger Flynn reveals that he comes here to escape the horrors of the facility, and the hideous things he has done there. Unlike a normal jellyfish, this test subject has never felt the sun upon his skin, nor swam in the cool blue waters of the ocean. He yearns to one day escape into the outside world and experience these sensations. Flynn states that he needs the children to do just that, but will make sure to use the safest of procedures. This alluding to some of the children being used in some kind of experiment. The remaining children will then be returned to the surface by a single adult, one that Flynn will keep alive and sane to complete this task. He will also use this survivor to deliver him to wherever he chooses, helping him to escape the kindergarten once and for all. After this beachside speech, we experience a flashback from the perspective of Stinger Flynn. A demonic-looking version of Banban stands over him, but does not harm Flynn. This is because being a jellyfish means he has no internal organs for the Red Devil to harvest. Stinger Flynn manages to escape his holding cell and then encounters Slow Celine, who tells him to hide as they're coming.
You need to hide, they're coming.
These events suggest that this flashback takes place during the catastrophe that went down at the kindergarten, where the living mascots escaped their holding cells and were then hunted by security. When our protagonist reawakens, they find themselves in a swamp-themed room, belonging to the elusive mascot Sheriff Toadster. To escape this room, we must round up 10 criminals and deposit them in the jail cell. The criminals take the form of buckets with googly eyes. After completing this task, a music-based minigame is unlocked, where we must hop from spotlight to spotlight in time with the beat. Doing so unlocks the exit, but before we leave this room, there is a secret tape to locate. Head up to the office, and underneath this desk a button can be found. Press this button to extend a series of platforms that run along the wall opposite. Leapfrog up these platforms and you'll find secret tape number 1 at the very top. The footage on this tape is of a toad hopping about in a containment room. This is almost certainly the toad injected with a mixture of GV and human DNA to create a living version of the Sheriff Toadster mascot. A mascot who, as of yet, remains unseen, but is likely to be one of the main characters in Chapter 4. There is also a note on the table within the Sheriff Toadster room. This note discusses Case 6, the Devil, who is of course Banban himself. The note details how Banban was unstable and violent, remaining huddled up inside his cell while whispering about Javanium, Pancreas, Weatherly, and Uffman. Weatherly Mason and Adam Uffman were the lead scientists responsible for the inhumane experimentation that went on inside the depths of the facility, but it seems Banban harboured a personal hatred towards these two as a result of the pain and suffering he endured at their hands. After leaving the Toadster room, the parent re-emerges in the aquatic sector and is informed by Banban that before they can continue with their quest, they must first deal with the spidery terror Nabnab.
He's on the hunt, and it's too dangerous to do anything in this state. We have to deal with him. Luckily, I have a solution, but you won't like it. Head to the medical sector and we'll talk there.
And so it's off to the medical sector to find a solution to this latest roadblock. En route, we come across another research note, once again discussing Banban. It seems in a bid to curtail the Red Devil's rebellious behaviour, the team injected him with a modified Javanium solution. This new form of GV was engineered with the goal of lowering the brain functions of its subject, making them easier to control and more docile. However, the opposite occurred. Not only did Banban go through severe pain and physical changes, he also reverted to a more primal state, making him feral and therefore even more of a risk to the staff. The parent reaches the medical centre and locates a room with a dormant experiment which looks very similar to Nabnab. This creature is a female variant known as Nabnalina. Banban explains that if we revive Nabnalina by injecting her with a perfectly mixed GV solution, then she will join Nabnab and cure his loneliness. The theory being that by curing said loneliness, the blue menace will become distracted and allow for the protagonist to continue exploring the facility safely. After mixing up the solution and injecting it into Nabnalina, a secret room opens containing an audio disc. But while turning away from Nabnalina to take this disc, the monstrous creature slinks away. Banban explains that we must play the audio on the speaker in the aquatic centre to reunite the two spiders and complete our task. Sure enough, when we head back to the lounge, the two Nabnabs unite and happily scuttle off into the horizon. Then suddenly Banban is cut off mid-sentence as we hear a loud noise.
At last, he's no longer miserable. I'm surprised they both weren't originally members of the mutants below. They'd certainly fit. This is...
Heading back to the elevator, we are ambushed by Stinger Flynn, who rises from the depths to greet our hapless hero.
Don't worry, I won't get rid of you or collect you just yet. I was never one to abide by wastes. An old friend needs you a lot more than I do. They too are on a path to achieve peace of mind. I already have more than enough subjects to move forward with my aspiration and my ultimate mental refinement.
Stinger Flynn retracts his offer to allow the poor parent to escape and instead places them under his spell. They are to be given to another test subject who needs to find peace of mind, a sacrificial offering if you will. We return to the dreamscape and this time are riding in a car across a vast desert, with Banban, Captain Fiddles, a pillar bird and Stinger Flynn. They are travelling to the beach but seem to be lost. Flynn becomes distracted and the car ends up crashing. In the aftermath of this crash, we transition back to Stinger Flynn's escape memory, this time using his zapping tendrils to complete rhythm-based puzzles, eventually finding ourselves in a room full of GV. It seems the jellyfish gained increased intellect and size as a result of coming into contact with massive amounts of this mind-altering substance. Our protagonist then awakens to find themselves trapped in a room with Banbalina and a seemingly dead Nabnab. Banbalina was snatched away by Jumbo Josh during the climactic chase of Chapter 2, and it seems she has been held as his prisoner ever since.
Every time we move or change something in the room, let's make sure that it's back to the way it was before he checks in on us again. This way, we can inch our way towards escaping, all while he doesn't suspect a thing.
Jumbo Josh periodically checks in to make sure we haven't moved or changed anything in his lounge. To escape, we must move various building blocks from room to room, using them as stepping stones to access more blocks, which can then be used to eventually reach a keycard which unlocks the exit. The exit leads to a corridor where the holding cells for the various mascots are located. Banbalina also escapes and heads back toward the surface. Along the way we find secret tape number 2, placed in the corner of this hallway. This tape contains footage of the Apilla Bird's playgrounds from Chapter 1. We can roughly make out a human character standing over the body of a dead or perhaps unconscious mascot. Could this be one of the missing children, perhaps even the child of a parent we play as? Or maybe this is the scientist, Weatherly Mason. It's hard to know for sure, but let me know what you think in the comments section below. After bidding farewell to Banbalina, who seems to not want to harm us this time round, we can access the next secret by travelling back to the medical wing and then using the Jumbo Josh room keycard on this previously locked door. Inside is a note which refers to this room as the prank room. There are a series of 6 buttons, each featuring the image of a kindergarten mascot above them. We need to press these buttons in the correct sequence. The order is revealed to us by scanning the QR codes found on various notes throughout the chapter. Each one features an image which, when brightened, displays a haunting picture of a mascot and a number in the lower corner. Match the number and mascot up to get the correct sequence, which is as follows: Nabnab, Slow Celine, Banban, Sheriff Toadster, Jumbo Josh, and finally, Banbalina. A locker opens and reveals an audio disc and a note. The note is from a scientist discussing an experiment they mention grew too big and dangerous. The scientist feels they have been selfish in their experimentation and created a monstrosity that no school would ever accept. This tells us that these mascots were originally created for schools, perhaps to be used as some kind of learning aid or playmates for the children. We have of course seen this in Chapter 2, where Banbalina acts as a teacher for her class. It isn't made clear exactly who the subject this scientist is discussing actually is. With the recording in hand, click on the speaker system and then head over to the elevator to be greeted by Zolphius, who ominously whispers, "I am sorry" in Spanish. It's unclear why they would say this, perhaps a mystery best saved for another time. Back to the main quest, our protagonist now heads to the progressive sector and finds that they can use their newly acquired keycard to gain entry. As we enter this new area, we come across another research note for the jellyfish. This document explains that the jellyfish was highly intelligent and able to communicate directly with its human genome donor. Through the next door is a room with an apilibird chick at the far side. We cannot approach the baby bird yet, or its mother will drop down to attack. However, we can take the stairs to the right and collect up the final secret tape. When viewing this tape, we witness the transformation of Banban following his exposure to the altered form of GV referenced in the note earlier. The administration of this GV strain turning him into a ferocious and feral version of the devil. With no way to pass through the apilibird room, our hero heads back into the main room where they must solve a mathematical puzzle on the wall. Solving this puzzle opens up the adjacent door, which leads to a very odd looking audio contraption known as Mr. Kebabman. To restore Mr. Kebabman to working order, the protagonist must find 2 party hats, one for each of its horns. And so they continue onward into a hallway with yet another research note. The note describes the behavioural habits of the jellyfish and how, while it can be dangerous due to its considerable strength and stinging tendrils, it is mainly docile. The jellyfish only seems to attack when provoked, unlike other research subjects such as the devil. With this in mind, the research team determined that Stinger Flynn is ready for the upcoming kindergarten event, Bring a Friend's Day, the day the catastrophe took place. Upon entering the next room, we are greeted by a horrifying mascot experiment known as Tamataki and Kamataki. This fusion of turtle and chameleon attacks by throwing out deadly water balloons while attempting to crush the player with its gigantic, elongated lizard tongue. In order to defeat this monstrous hybrid, the protagonist must attach 3 explosive rockets to the creature's tongue. Kamataki then swallows the detonator and is blown up, causing it to fall from a suspended platform and into the abyss below. At the back of a room where the creature once stood, we are able to find 2 hats for the Kebabman, in addition to a picture which features the 3 failed experiments, including a mysterious and as of yet unseen creation. With the hats now attached to Mr. Kebabman, we are able to wheel the strange audio device towards the Apilachik room, where it can be used to lure the baby bird away from its mommy. However, before we do so, it's time to unlock the chapter's final secret. To unlock this final secret, position Mr. Kebabman beside this locker and then cue up its audio track.
Open sesame.
The door opens and a keycard is found inside. Take this keycard all the way back to the aquatic sector where we first met Stinger Flynn, and we are now able to access this previously locked room. Within this room is a note as well as a large image of Tamataki and Kamataki and a diagram of the composition of the Javanium cloy. The note describes what Javanium actually is and how it works. If a test subject receives too many genomes or DNA types, it becomes overloaded, leading to a particular genome taking priority within the host. This resulting in the feral or animalistic behaviour exhibited by certain experiments such as Banban's The Devil. Therefore, the scientists must carefully balance how many different forms of DNA are mixed within a singular subject in order to create something docile and suitable for use within a kindergarten. Heading back to the Apilachik room, our hero sounds off the Kebabman and calls forth the little bird. This causes the mother bird to drop down, allowing the protagonist to leap onto its back and ride it through the facility, where they soon come face to face with a very ticked off Stinger Flynn. It is now revealed that Stinger Flynn has captured Banban, grasping him firmly in one of his tentacles.
Someone has given you false hope, promised you what you want when all along they had one thing on their mind, pancreases. At first I was confused by how everything was going perfectly in your favor, despite you never being here before. And then it hit me. Someone has to have been guiding you.
Stinger Flynn informs the parents that they have been deceived by Banban. He wasn't helping them, but rather this entire time the Red Devil simply wanted to collect up as many pancreases as possible. Stinger Flynn unleashes Banban upon the protagonist, who alongside the Tartar and Apilla birds flees into the depths of the facility until they reach a dead end. It seems all is lost as Banban in his mutated form corners the player and prepares to chow down on their delicious organs. But just at that moment, Jumbo Josh emerges from the darkness and the two begin to throw down. The Tartar bird flies our hero to safety and they watch as Stinger Flynn arrives to break up the fight. Unfortunately for Flynn, Jumbo Josh is far stronger and slams the jellyfish into the ground. The Tartar bird screeches and flies down to check for survivors. During this reprieve, the protagonist is able to slink away with the Apilla chick in tow. The two head for a nearby elevator where a whiteboard displays a cryptic message that reads, "Find the kingdom, find the sheriff, do not let Jester find you." This could be hinting that Sheriff Toadster is an ally and not an enemy in the upcoming Chapter 4. As both the human and Apilla bird ride the elevator down further into the depths of the facility, we are left only to ponder as to where the tale of this bizarre kindergarten nightmare may take us next. And with that, we come to the end of this video and a look at the story and secrets of Garten of Banban Chapter 3. I hope you found this video both entertaining and informative. And if you did, remember to leave a like, comment down below, and of course subscribe for more horror related content. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video.